Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the X-Rays community, Eric. I'm glad to see that it seems you're all prepped up because we're about to uncover why AI literacy is just as important as financial literacy in today's world.
Yeah.
How businesses can really leverage AI without fear. And the exciting part, I guess, would be discussing to our audience why you believe prompting is the new coding. And knowing AI, it's transforming every industry. Yet many people still find it very intimidating. So, what inspired you to step up and bridge the AI knowledge gap, especially for Black and Brown communities?
It wasn't until I started really studying AI in November, like what was it, 2022, when
Uh-huh.
they first ended up coming out with ChatGPT, and that's when I
Yeah.
really started just getting immersed in it. And I was going to start a consulting business and be selfish, not tell people what I was using, and just let them have fabulous outputs from me. Whatever I give them will be wonderful, but they don't have to know what I was using. It wasn't until I started understanding what the wealth gap was. I started studying and reading a lot from McKinsey and Company, and with their statistics is wonderful, and it just blew my mind on Black and brown people being at the bottom. I just didn't. I didn't know we was that low, and
Yeah.
where white people was, where black people are, where Latinos are, where Asians, which is kind of considered Indian and Chinese, and then you have mixed. So I know at the time it was 286 for whites, like around 50, 55 for blacks, Latinos around 61, 65, and then you have Asians, which is about 555, 560, and then mixed at 61. That is a big gap, particularly even from white people
Yeah.
to. So and then artificial intelligence plays a big role because it is going to widen the gap very
Mm-hmm.
much so. And if we don't get into artificial intelligence and
Yeah.
not just using the models, I mean understanding how to build the models, the gap's going to be widened, and by 2050 it's going to be zero.
Right, that's actually powerful. It's just wild to think that AI isn't just reshaping industries now, it's also reshaping who gets a seat at the table. And like you said, Eric, if people aren't aware, they'll wake up one day and realize, as you said, in 2050, the world has changed without them. It's like the internet boom all over again. But this time, I think we can get ahead of it. Now, speaking of getting ahead, you emphasize AI literacy and prompt engineering as game changers, as I've read. So, can you break down why mastering these skills is so crucial for individuals and small businesses?
Because it's the way you actually talk to any GPT. When you build a machine learning model, prompt engineering is involved. It's part of the main process on the output that you expect that model to give you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to tell it kind of what you want, and you have to tell it strategically, and that's how they do machine learning models. And so even outside of that, using that model for us little people, we still have to do the same thing on our end. We have to strategically understand how to talk to the GPT, which is prompting, which most people just say, I told it to do this, I told it to do that. So if you have a company here and you have a company right here and they both do the same thing, they don't use, or even if they both used artificial intelligence, GPTs, if he understood prompting for real and he didn't, he's probably going to 10x this person in business because he's going to get better outcomes from his model. And then even there's even tools that you can use that can assist you in prompting. And the thing about this though is a lot of people are not going to be getting smarter with these tools because they're not going to read what they get. They're not going to, so say for instance, if one gives you feedback on your prompt, are you really clicking the feedback button to see it? Are you just going to put, if it tells you you can perfect it and just upload it, when you do perfect it, are you actually reading it? Because I did a video called Is AI Making Us Smarter or Dumber? And it is statistics out there that show that it's called cognitive offload, where it can make you dumber. So we have to understand prompting, but use it properly and get smarter from it.
Right. Man, that's such a perspective shift. we're not just talking about using AI or utilizing machine learning. We're talking about commanding it, directing it the right way, making it work for us instead of the other way around. And
Right.
that right there, that's the difference between being a passive consumer of AI and an active participant in the future, I must say. But let's address the biggest fear out there, Eric, job loss. I've been really particularly
Oh my God.
interested about it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people worry AI is coming to replace them, but you obviously see it as a tool for empowerment. So, how do you help businesses and professionals leverage AI to create opportunities instead of fearing disruption?
I do feel there is going to be big disruption, particularly in most automated facilities. Banks are already being affected. Restaurants are being affected. Driver jobs are being affected. So many things are going to be affected. A lot of construction people don't feel like they're going to be affected, but layouts are being done by AI now. Architecture work is going to be basically walking a building with augmented reality headsets. So it's going to take over every field, but I do believe, and from what I see, entrepreneurship in the past has always been kind of like 98% of entrepreneurs don't make it. But because of the AI world coming and a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, I think entrepreneurship is going to pick up. But you have to be in this world and not just using it, creating from it. So that's my thing on that. There are going to be job losses. 85, 90 million jobs are going to be lost between now and 2030, they say. And the good thing is there's going to be 100 million achieved and implemented because of AI. And then what happens is if black and brown people are not 35% of that, our median wealth is not going to end up rising up. It will take a long time for it to ever be equal, but we at least have to make it go into an upward trend and not a downward trend because we're really not paying attention. And so artificial intelligence gives us that opportunity.
Well, it makes real sense because it's not about AI taking over, Eric. It's about who's really navigating the ship right there. And from what you're saying, the real risk isn't AI itself. It's being unprepared for it, right?
Yeah, and that's why when you talk about the job loss, the thing about it is there's a saying that it's not going to be AI that takes your job. It's going to be someone that comes in and knows AI. That's going to be one of the phases. That is true. That is going to be, but it depends because some companies are going to realize I don't need you, period. And then some companies are going to say, well, I have 100 employees that I've had here for 30 years. Do I really just want to get rid of them because of AI? And if their answer is no, they're probably going to go out of business anyway. So now 50 of them might be able to use AI and implement it with your business. You might have to get rid of 50. But the thing about it is if those 50 are going to have to know at least how to use the GPTs that are used for the company, because people are mostly going to be using custom chat GPTs, custom chatbots, custom agents, and they're just going to all have to be trained. So there is going to have to be people in the loop, and that's why I try to educate people at AIliteracy.biz because we want to try to get you prepared. Because the whole goal too is to make you think outside the box and just don't think about trying to get a job. Think about if you possibly can create something new. There was a kid that created an arm, out of a 3D model and put some algorithms together with it and actually had it moving. And this was a kid. So my thing is, I don't care about when, particular people say engineering, you don't have to learn no more. I know engineers are going to lose their jobs. So you have to start thinking outside the box. Because engineers are going to lose their jobs. Coders are going to lose their jobs. But everything that was built today was built by them. And so everything that was built today is fabulous. You got models, Salsa Technologies and Google trained 300 audio samples and million audio samples, and they came up with nanotechnology that can detect respiratory infections and even heart failure. And so that was done today by engineers, coders, data scientists of today. So there's no way you can tell me that's not something you should continue to not learn because AI is going to take over. We can't let just AI do everything. Like we have to. So what happens is if we be creators of models ourselves, we can actually come up with something fabulous also. And I'm not just talking about black and brown people. I'm talking about businesses with under 100,000 employees, because I went to an AI summit recently and they was only targeted on businesses that had 100,000 employees or better. They didn't want to even talk to companies that had 500 employees because that's not their concern. But everything they talked about is a must and a concern for everyone. But you know, we wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So this is important. This is very, very important. I don't think there's nothing that I've ever seen in my lifetime that's been more important for everyone to learn, not just black and brown people, because white people too are not actually understanding what's going on. They say only about 4% of the businesses are really using this and have really implemented it, and the ones that are actually using it, 90-something% of them are not using it correctly because they're not prompting correctly.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you touch on that side of the business, Eric, because utilizing AI is also a way to upskill the people. So why not have a workshop or training for them to actually understand and be able to use it and apply it to be more efficient at work? Now, let's talk about AI and cybersecurity because they tag along each other, right? So, let's be real. The more we integrate AI, the more vulnerable businesses can become. And I read you partnered with Security to tackle this head on. So why is this collaboration so critical, and what should businesses know about protecting themselves in an AI-driven world?
Yeah, that Stephen Pullum is the CEO and founder of Security, and he, this guy is just, when I tell you, an expert in when it comes to AI, cybersecurity, and just cybersecurity period. And we got along so good as far as his chain of thinking, as far as like where we're going and what we need to do, particularly with the youth. And one thing about Stephen is not in it for no money. He ain't worried about that. He really just feels like he has to give back. He goes after certificate after certificate, and I mean big certificates. He's involved with different global boards as far as, for AI ethics and, things like that. And it was a no-brainer to get involved with Stephen and, let's start some things together. I'm involved with some other organizations too that I'm gonna probably have Stephen come in on and be a part of too out here, that we're actually gonna be doing a workshop. And that's why it's funny you said that, because we're getting ready to be doing a workshop soon and on AI. We're just actually putting it together now. Yeah. So Steve, I'm sorry. My son also graduated from Towson University in Maryland, and he is actually for cybersecurity. He works for the DC government in the cybersecurity world. So I'm definitely going to bring him into what me and Steven's going to do too, moving forward.
Cool. So I was saying perhaps we can have Steven with you over the show next time.
Yeah.
It would be a very
my God,
interesting conversation. Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Did you do the interview with him?
No, not yet.
Oh, that was somebody. Okay,
I just learned it from you.
Okay.
Yeah, when I research about you. But yeah, AI is really powerful, transformative, but dangerous if not handled correctly. And cybersecurity, that's actually the fireproof suit businesses can afford to skip, right?
The problem though is, say for instance, Paris wanted to have some agreement signed recently with different countries, and United States and I guess a couple of others didn't want to sign it. They felt it was too many guardrails on it. And I just personally believe that, the United States actually ripped down what Biden just put up as far as not ethical, but, governance and AI frameworks to be ethical and non-discriminatory and things like that, and just be fair and be transparent. Trump actually just, I guess, threw that away, and he's saying that the AI companies can kind of police their own AI and state to state, but that's not going to work, because artificial intelligence has to be in some form, to me, policed globally because of what other countries can actually do with it. And if we're not working with each other and police with each other, just say for instance we get attacked by another country, we need to be able to talk to that country, because say for instance that country's laws is where this can happen over here. So if they doing it over your country, that ain't none of our business. It's legal over here, and things are going to be chaos. And the detriment that it can do, because in the wrong hands, and it is going to be in the wrong hands, is going to be, it's going to be bad, because we don't know what it's going to be, and that's the bad thing about it. But if you actually built it to be ethical, particularly, and always be transparent, be non-discriminatory, make sure it can't be weaponized. I don't think they're doing this because they seem to be building these models and just throwing them out there because everybody's racing against each other. Now we're racing against China. They're throwing out models, and everybody's testing them with basic tools. You know what I'm saying? Like they said, Grok 3 wasn't tested with some tool, some that 32, and that's why what they're saying it wasn't really that. But to me, it's about, like, can people get time to catch up? And that's one of the problems. They're moving so fast. The education systems are not ready. The government city systems are not ready. So everybody's just going to be implementing it, here and there, when if you really thought about what you was implementing and understanding what this really was, you can actually know how to actually do this the correct way the first time. And that's where I come in at. Sit down and talk to me. I do charge a fee, but it's to get educated. It's to get you to understand. Some people just say, I'm going to implement AI, I'm going to get a chatbot, but what do you do at the end of 6 months with that chatbot data? Can you change your business with it? Most people's not going to even take that data and do nothing with it, because the company that implements it might be just trying to sell you a chatbot to answer your phone so you can feel happy you got 24/7 support, and now you ain't never did nothing with the data because that company hasn't educated you on what this really is, because they just want to sell you a chatbot. And that's why I always tell people, get with me. I'm going to break it down to you on what you're really using. I'm going to break it down to you on what you really need. And then I'll help you go pick a company to implement different tools. Because some people might just need particular algorithms and not even a chatbot. Some people might need 7 chatbots and it can boom your business. But it's the data at the end of the day on how those chatbot answered questions, what time they answered it, because you can't answer the phone 24/7, and today your business has to be 24/7 no matter what it is. Your phone should be answered 24/7. If you're selling something, a chatbot can sell it for you. A chatbot can do 8 things. It can book my airline, book my hotel, have the Uber outside, book the restaurant, look at some other things, all in one. You do this. I want in one, me talking to one app, because that agent, I talk to one agent, now that agent's talking to 7 other agents. It is going to take a lot of jobs, because in reality, if we wasn't talking to agents, it would have been about 10 people to do the things I just said real quick, because the phone might switch. Let me switch it over here. And now those people are losing their jobs. But let's think of imagine someone ended up coming up with something that can be more fabulous than that, but have some employees get involved. Like, let's still try to keep people in a loop. In order to do that, we have to create. We have to think different. One thing we have to do is think different.
Right. Well, that's some serious insight, Eric. Last but not least, let's talk action. For the people tuning in right now who want to dive into AI but feel overwhelmed, what are the first steps they should take, and how can AI literacy base help them on their journey?
Well, what we do is we will actually see where you're at first before we even try to start educating you. So say, for instance, if you're an individual and we know that you are totally blind to artificial intelligence, we will ask you first, what do you think you need it for? What do you do every day? Like, you want it for your job? And then what we do is we'll put together, we have an hour course online. It could go past an hour. They still pay $1 right now. Price can always go up, subject to change. We'll customize a PowerPoint for them. We'll send it to them. We'll send them some prompts and things like that. So now they'll have something to follow as we kind of walk them through it. And like I said, we will actually give it to them on their level. Then we might run into a company that has 40 employees that's selling sneaker brands that got 20 brands of sneakers, and these are the brands and things like that. Now they need different type of chatbots. They need different type of training. Human resource might even need to be trained on AI and onboarding AI systems, and also marketing plans. So we might actually put together 5 frameworks or 10 particular frameworks that you can edit, iterate over time. So, it can just help you move forward now. Then your numbers, of course, you want to use AI for that, because now you can at any time ask questions about what's going on instead of waiting every quarter till things are audited. So we will sit down with an individual, we'll sit down with a business. It really doesn't matter. It's just about us educating you, and that's the key, and that's the goal, for us to educate you. And we're because it is scary. People are terrified, and that's one of the reasons why people don't use it. But I hate to say it, you're gonna have to, because if you don't, you're gonna be used by it, because you're gonna use it in every aspect of your life, no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, why not, right? It doesn't kill you.
No.
And so they have to let you understand first who they really are, what they have, and what exactly they do. And that process goes on. I mean, eventually it's going to be easier for both of you. And I'm pretty sure that's the kind of roadmap people need, because AI shouldn't stay as a mystery. It's a tool. So why not utilize it and utilize it the right way? And if I may add, ethically. And what you're doing with AI literacy.peace is really helpful, as that tool is getting into the right hands. So thank you so much for dropping some serious knowledge here today, Erik.
Thank you.
This is definitely one of those conversations that stick with you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Well, folks, this conversation was next level. AI isn't just changing the game, it's creating an entirely new one. And thanks to experts like AI Erik, more people are getting the knowledge and tools they need to play, compete, and win. If you're ready to step into AI, whether you're for personal growth or for the future of your business, head over to ailiteracy.biz. I've seen they've got courses, resources, and real-world applications that make AI accessible and actionable. So to everyone watching or listening anywhere in the world, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you keep riding this wave with us, because the future, it's only getting started.
ailiteracy.biz.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that, Erik. Well, thank you again, and have a nice day. Until next time, this has been your host, Miles. Stay focused and inspired with X-Rays.
Thank you. Bye-bye.